All right, welcome back everyone to the Lorcana Academy. As you can maybe tell from my voice, I am back after dealing with some illness. Still not 100% better, but you know what makes people feel better when they're sick is chicken soup. And for me, Ruby Amethyst Control is chicken soup for the soul. There's not much I enjoy more in any card game than slowly outgrinding my opponent, denying them all the things that they want to do, all the things that make them happy, hearing the lamentations of their women, and eventually seeing them scoop them up in frustration. And that's what this deck is designed to do. This is a deck I pulled from an event in Italy. It was on Dreamborn. I just grabbed a list. It was the winning list from that tournament. I think it had like 30 or 40 people in it. And yeah, it's pretty much the standard Ruby Amethyst control that you've come to expect. Now remember, this is a paper tournament, so still the tournament scene is subject to card availability, so you'll see a few weird includes, cards that I wouldn't necessarily include in the list if I had the choice. Actually, I do have the choice. I just didn't have the strength. I didn't have the gumption to replace them, so I just sleeved this up and played it in Pixleborn for a little while. And yeah, so most of the cards you've seen before. Olaf and Minnie Mouse obviously were from previous sets. We have Maui, which is mainstay. Of course, we have Ursula and Maleficent, which came to define the archetype at the end of Season 1. But we do have a few other new characters to get to know. We have, obviously, a bunch of different Madame Mims. We have Madame Mim Snake, Madame Mim Fox. Madame Mim Snake is a particularly efficient way to bounce all of the other characters in your deck that you're interested in bouncing. Madame Mim Fox does the same thing, slightly more expensive, but also acts as like a crowd control, board control effect. She comes down immediately, hits something for 4 damage, bounces something else to your hand for value, and is a pretty powerful card. I think after playing with the deck for a little while, I think I would have gone up to the 4th one, but at the same time, I think that you can end up just getting stuck with her in your hand. If the opponent removes your characters in play, you have nothing on turn 3. You can't play her because she just dies. So playing 3 is a reasonable compromise there. Merlin Crab is just a weird, I think, concession to not being able to find other good cards to be able to play, because I think this card is not great. Honestly, the returns on this, bouncing it over and over again, are not great. Only increasing power still means that your characters are going to trade a lot of the time, so it takes a lot of work to make this card good, and I don't think that it does as good a job at removal as some of the other things in the deck do. But we do have Merlin Goat and Merlin Rabbit. These two cards are, of course, excellent. Merlin Goat has been one of the defining cards of the set. Obviously, it's a very powerful card. You can bounce it over and over again with cards like Arthur, which isn't in this deck, or with Madame Mim, which is in spades. And it's guaranteed effectively 2 lore, because you get 1 when it comes down, and at some point, either you're going to remove it from play by bouncing it to your hand, or blowing it up on something the opponent has, or just questing. It's a must-answer threat. It's lore that doesn't need a board state to make, so it just comes out of nowhere out of your hand. So after a board wipe, it's a pretty good play to take the initiative, take tempo. And Merlin Rabbit is the same thing, except instead of gaining a guaranteed 2 lore, it's basically a guaranteed 2 cards. So between those two things, they're obviously both 4-ofs. And the other new card the other new character that we add to the deck, really, the important one, is this Lady Tremaine. Very powerful effect. So uninkable 6, which means that it must be very powerful for you to want it. But she kind of is, because when you play her, the opponent has to choose and banish one of their characters. So she's not great in the early game, but a pattern that you see a lot is you cast your Be Prepared. The opponent taps out on their turn after Be Prepared with 1 big threat or 1 big creature, and Lady Tremaine comes down and they have to throw it away immediately. So it punishes your opponent for playing around a board wipe, and there's already very limited ways to do that. So this card, if you play it correctly, can really put your opponent in a tough spot. So that's the character core of the deck, and down here we have some extra spells. Obviously, 4 copies of Be Prepared. Everyone knows it's there. Everyone knows it's coming on turn 7, but there's not a whole lot that you can really do about it other than don't play too much into it. Still not a whole lot of anti-board wipe tech in the game. 3 copies of Friends on the other side, 4 copies of Friends on the other side. Plays well with Maleficent, plays well with Fidget, plays well with Minnie, plays well with really a lot of stuff, and casting it for 3 ink is not that bad on its own in slower, grindier games. And these 2 copies of Teeth of Ambition, I get what they're going for here. Because you're bouncing so many of your characters, it doesn't hurt that much to damage them. to put 2 points of damage on your own character and get 2 points for your opponent. But it doesn't draw a card in the way that Let the Storm Rage On does. 2 damage, because everyone's playing around steel, people aren't really playing a whole lot of characters that only have 2 toughness because there are already so many 2 damage effects in the format. So this card ends up dead a lot of the time. I haven't been impressed with it. I don't know that I've cast it once in my practice games. It's just ended up being ink, but maybe it'll surprise us in this video. We'll see. Just noticed as well that this Maleficent monstrous dragon is apparently $1,300 according to Dreamborn. But you know where it's not $1,300 is on Coolstuffinc.com. That's our sponsor. If you want to see more videos like this, please head on over there to buy any decks that you want to play, buy any sealed product, anything like that. Use the code Academy for 5% off your order because that's what lets them know that we are the ones who sent you, and that makes them know to keep supporting us, which means you keep getting videos. So that's what's in it for all 3 of us, me, you, and Coolstuffinc. We're gonna get into some games quickly. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see me play next. I know it's the end of the season. I know spoilers are out for season 3, so we're kind of in that dead zone where there's not a whole lot to play. But let me know, if nothing else, what you want to see me play in the first few weeks of season 3, if nothing else. Anyway, that's it. Let's hop into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, so we're on the play against Amber Steel. Pixleborn tells you what you're up against now. So probably up against Amber Steel songs. We've got kind of a weird opening hand. A couple duplicates here that I'm fine shipping away. How good is Teeth and Ambitions? I think I want to do a little better than that. Obviously, we're going to keep the goat. I like keeping the 1-drop. And we ended up with multiple copies of Minnie Mouse. I don't mind getting a 1-drop into play early because it lets us play one of our Madam Mims later, especially the one with Rush if we need to deal with the board. Also, just Lorcana is kind of about tempo and getting on the board early, taking advantage of your being on the play. Also, getting Madam Mim down is nice because it means that we have a 3-drop, although I guess we have Minnie now to be able to sing Friends on the other side. All right, so Cinderella the singer, so now there should be no doubt what we're up against. And we have an interesting question about what to ink. We could acknowledge that it's going to be a long time before we ever play this Maleficent. The other option would be shipping one of the goats. I think given their ability to deal with us on the board, this goat is not likely to live. I think I'm going to ship the Maleficent, and I don't think I'm going to quest with Minnie here. I don't want to expose her. In general, I don't want them to be able to get damage on their creatures because, or damage on their characters because they have the Rapunzel that heals and draws cards, and that's one of the main ways that they can get back into the game after we've ground them down. So if we can avoid having them damage their characters, I think we should. Sleepy's Flute is here, so this is one of the new mechanisms in Rise of the Floodborn to gain lore just for having sung a song. So pretty good start for the opponent here. Maui is the draw, so we can quest with Minnie, bounce her with Madam Mim, eat Cinderella. That seems pretty sweet to me. Obviously, Cinderella is a pretty good ink piece, a pretty good accelerant for them rushing out their songs. So the question then, I guess, is just what are we going to ink in order to play Madam Mim? And it's down, I think, to one of these two, Maui or Minnie. I think I'm going to ship the Maui. I'm not sure that this is right. But let's go ahead and quest with Minnie, bounce her back. She can turn into ink on a future turn. And kill Cinderella and pass. This flute represents a lot of lore if they're able to sing, so if we can take, if we can slow down their song pace, that should help. Here's the Prince Who Never Gives Up, Bodyguard with Resist 1, but the Be Prepared we just drew does not care about that. I'm wondering whether to sing Friends on the Other Side with Madam Mim or not. Like, how safe is it? They're probably going to want to quest with the Prince, I would think. He might sing something himself, but there's nothing we can do to stop that. More to the point, questing with Madam Mim doesn't seem to expose her to anything that she isn't already exposed to. So I think I'm down to do that. And by questing, I just mean using her to sing this song. So we'll do that, see what we draw. Draw a couple Mauis. That's not bad. That does just eat the prince. If I ink one of them, then the jig is up. They know we have it. So let's ink this mini and play the goat, gain some lore, pass. They find grab your sword. So that is fully capable of taking out Madame Mim. So now that's really just a question of how much is the opponent going to commit to the board before we get to play this board wipe. Ideally a lot. However, I think we can sort of convince them to commit a little more by killing the prince here. And we can do that just by inking and playing Maui. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to ink this Cusco. Maui's a higher impact card. Take down the prince, and Madame Mim is dead if they want her to be anyway. With grab your sword, and I guess we'll just quest with Merlin as well. Try to put the screws to them a little bit. This is a dangerous turn for us. Ariel being able to sing any 5-drop song, and then they don't even use Ariel to sing it. That's interesting. Does that mean there's a follow-up? Oh, just 2 grab your swords. Sure. That's fine. We gain 1 lore from the goat dying. And yeah, so Maui eating Ariel is basically a given here. So the only question is, what are we inking? How many times is this mini going to get to quest, really, is my question. I think I'm going to pitch the mini, because there's a good chance that she won't get to quest at all, given that the opponent has access to cards like Smash. And Merlin at least will guaranteed gain 2 lore. Possibly more if we end up drawing a Madame Mim or something, a bounce effect off of this Ursula. So Tinkerbell turns into ink. That's interesting. Does that mean there's another one? No, it's Stitch. Okay. So we did find a Madame Mim. Unfortunately, if we don't kill this Stitch now, then they're probably going to go a little nuts drawing cards. I think I'm interested in cutting that off while I can. I think I'm going to ink this Madame Mim, play Be Prepared, and then have 2 pretty good cards in my hand as a follow-up. This is just one of their best ways back into the game. I don't want to allow them to use it. I mean, buckle up, folks. This is Clash of the Titans. Season 1, these were the 2 best decks. Season 2, probably more of the same. Lady Tremaine is an interesting one to draw here, just as an edict to get rid of Ariel. They have 2 cards in hand that they didn't play, and they had 3 ink left to play them. So these 2 cards are probably removal, I would think. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get rid of Ariel. You Magic fans, kind of like a ravenous chupacabra here. And then we can use Ursula on a future street. Here's Snow White. Oh, wow. That's, yeah. What's in their discard that they can bring back? The Stitch, of course. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can't stop that, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and play Ursula here. Drain them, draw a card. Lady Tremaine, if these 2 cards had been, if this mini and that Lady Tremaine had been in another order, then we would have been in great shape. As it is, we are not. So I guess we're just questing. Am I turning this mini into ink? I think I am. We have like Maleficence and stuff that draws cards. Oh wow, they just naturally drew another Stitch. Okay. And they rebuy Ariel. Which Ariel did they rebuy? The cheap one. Okay, yeah, that's the one that makes sense, because they can use that play Stitch draw card off of it immediately. I think we need to get Lady Tremaine down before Ariel comes down, because otherwise she gets way worse. So it's going to be Lady Tremaine, quest, and then Madame Mim can bounce something, and the question is what? If we keep bouncing Lady Tremaine over and over again, it's pretty hard for them to break that lock. Not impossible, but hard. Okay, let's do that first. Okay, and they pitch Stitch. Wow. I guess with the intention of just bringing the Stitch back with Snow White. Sure. But we're going to quest with the team. This is a lot of pressure on them. And I'm going to bounce, I guess, the Exerted Lady Tremaine. And pass. So Ariel finds Painting the Roses red. This is really grindy. It's not often that the opponent has more cards in their hand than I do at this point in the game. And unfortunately, this Lady Tremaine, they get to sack one of these. I was hoping that they would rebuy Stitch with Snow White and just replay the Stitch. And then we would be able to keep removing 1/2 of their board every time, all the while questing a little more. I mean, we're still in great shape, right? Because, oh. They kill Madame Mim. Okay. So we're questing for 5 total, up to 17. Merlin is 2 guaranteed points. So they still need something special. We definitely quest. Let's start there. Up to 17. We have 8 ink, so we can play both Merlins if we want. Certainly going to play this Merlin. Up to 18. If he dies, then that's 19, and that would make this Merlin a lethal threat. And I think I'm into that. And I guess we'll pass. And I think the opponent's going to need something special, because the Grab Your Sword, all of our stuff is 3 toughness or better. So they could have multiples of those, I guess. There's one. And if they have another and we go to 19 and we play Lady Tremaine, they lose a creature or a character, and we're still threatening lethal. Anything else off the top is probably also a lethal threat. 2 to Ursula and draw. Opponent's kind of running out of options here now. Okay. Snow White hitting Ursula. We still have 4 threats in play. Cinderella trades with Ursula. Now 4 ink left. It's not enough for the Tinkerbell. That would wipe these 2. And that's the ball game. Cool. All right, so we'll just quest out and win. Very grindy game. Okay, so on the play against Amber Steel. I've played a lot against Amber Steel. I was trying to avoid having the entire video be me against Amber Steel, but maybe there's just no choice here. Definitely want to get rid of the expensive uninkable thing. Maleficent can go. Fidget has not really impressed, but at least it's inkable. I think I'm down to pitch these, and I'm down to just keep the control cards, the Be Prepared Maui and Madame Mim. All right, well, I think we're going to pitch this Fidget and play Olaf. That allows us to play Madame Mim next turn. Yeah, I've been trying to find good games to put in this video. I've played, I think, like 4 or 5 matches, and literal every single match has been against Amber Steel. That's just the only players who are on the ladder right now. Yeah, it's hard to blame them. It's a very powerful deck, but at the same time, I'd like to play something, play against something else. This Cusco is like not the worst. I think it's still going to turn into ink. I want like a 3 power creature in play that doesn't die. So we'll play Madame Mim, bounce this Olaf, and say go. Opponent plays the Queen, so perhaps a little more aggressive version, built around Whole New World and Stitch and high velocity plays. I'm going to quest with this Madame Mim. think this Teeth and Ambitions is going to turn into ink, and I don't really think I want to play this Madam Mim and bounce this one. But maybe that's the best there is. Because I don't really want to play the Olaf. I think that Olaf needs to be ink later. Interesting. So big Cinderella's here. Here's Ariel. Finding. Let the Storm Rage on. Yeah, pure card advantage over there. Pure, unadulterated, uncut card advantage. Unfortunately, we just don't have a whole lot going on here. We can turn this Madam Mim into ink, quest, Madam Mim, Olaf. That seems like a lot of wheel spinning. All right, well, I'm going to quest, and yeah, I think that is the line. Just play this Olaf, play Madam Mim, bounce this Olaf back to hand, and pass. 2 damage to the team, sure. And they'll let the Storm Rage on that we knew about from earlier. Kills Madam Mim. All right. Wow. That's interesting. That's a weird play to make with Tinkerbell in your deck. Because with just 1 toughness left, if they could just play Tinkerbell, that would just die. I think it's so likely the hands get wheeled that I just want to keep their board state under control. So I think that just means ink Olaf here, have Maui, kill Ariel. Just buy enough time to get to our hard-hitting 6 and 7 drop spells. Baby Cinderella's here. Looting away. Stitch, sure. So Strength of a Raging Fire will kill Maui. That's okay, because he was probably going to die anyway. I feel like that might just have to turn into ink. If we ink Merlin, play Lady Tremaine, what happens? They have to sack a character. They'll probably pitch just the Queen. Is that a great exchange for us? Not really knowing that Be Prepared is coming. So maybe it's just Maleficent here. See what we draw. Sure. I think Lady Tremaine's better after a board wipe. We Be Prepared. They play one thing. We play Lady Tremaine. Make them sacrifice that thing. And don't look now, but now we're actually out of inkable stuff. I was hoping to not draw an uninkable there off of Maleficent, so we're going to have to sweat the top card of the library a little bit. Queen turns into ink, and do we have Stitch? We have Whole New World, because of course we do. Okay. That kind of solves our ink problem a little bit. Maleficent dies, and we basically reset the game, because board wipe's coming, and we haven't made much progress so far, either player. It does, I think, have to be Prepared here. They just have too much song potential in play. I guess they don't. They only really have Cinderella. What's the alternative? We could play Ursula, have her sing Be Prepared later. We could have, we could play Maui, but that doesn't have, that's not particularly efficient. Yeah, Minnie Mouse I don't think is great against the deck that's running a bunch of Smash. Let's just go ahead and kill everything off now. Luckily, they don't have any of the flutes that let them continue getting value through board wipes. It's going to be another long, grindy game, folks. Buckle up. This is... grab a Snickers. It's going to be a little while. Ariel finds grab your sword. And there's the flute. Okay. So this is the clock, right? Like, no matter what, even if we get them down to 0 cards, if they just keep drawing songs off the top, they will eventually hit 20. So we need to get our own clock in play. We have 8 ink this turn. That could be Merlin. Could also be Mini Maleficent something. That seems a lot better to me. Let's start with Maleficent, see what we draw. Find this Merlin, sure. That's not all that impressive. Yeah, now I think we're just trying to be efficient here. Let's just go ahead and play this Merlin. Find friends on the other side. That's not bad. Okay, so they trade grab your sword for 2 points of damage and killing one thing. It's fine with me. Here's Stitch the Rockstar. Scary. We do really, really want an answer to that. Unfortunately, it does not seem like we're going to find one. So Maui comes down, kills Ariel. We have 4 left over. That's probably another Merlin. Yeah, and I guess if that's the order of things, we'll play Merlin first, see what we draw. Find Lady Tremaine. Hopefully we can use that to kill Stitch next turn, but I think that's a tall order. Okay, pitch this mini. And play Maui, kill Ariel. And I don't think I can quest with Merlin here. If they kill it with Stitch, I get to draw a card. It puts 2 points of damage, but then if they have Rapunzel or something, it's awful. Yeah, I think we just pass. Yep. So Cinderella, draw a card. And we'll see how many cards they're able to draw, how many characters they're able to put into play. Not being able to answer that Stitch the turn it came down might just lose us the game. Yep. Queen, draw a card. And we need to pretty badly find Be Prepared now. Stitch turning into ink. All right. 2 damage to Maui is okay. Yeah, pretty gross. Pretty good turn for the opponent here. We could rip Maleficent, kill this Stitch. Oh, wow. Find Maui. That'll at least kill Stitch. So we have 10 ink if we want it. That's Maui plus 5. We can Maui kill Stitch, Merlin trade Cinderella, and then have 5 left over. That will get us... Well, I guess it partly depends on what we draw off this Merlin. So I guess that's where we start. Does it matter which one we kill? A little bit. Because if they have a way to get stuff back from the graveyard, I don't want them getting the better card. Find another Ursula. That's okay, I guess. All right. Play Maui. Kill Stitch. And yeah, I guess I like inking Mini here. And I think we should be inking every turn just because of the threat of Whole New World out of the opponent. And I think I'm just going to play this Merlin. Try to put some pressure on them. We have Madame Mim in hand after all. Next turn we'll be at 11. Even just with 10, we'll be able to Ursula plus Madame Mim, which is pretty good. So Ariel finds kill Maui, draw a card, which is pretty good. Another Stitch? I think that's the 3rd Stitch. And is this the 4th? No. Okay. That is an awful lot of board presence. Pretty badly need to find Be Prepared now. Not much else will do. They're at 10, gaining 5 a turn, really gaining 6. Let's start with friends on the other side. I think I'm down to not sing it, because Merlin can kill one of these things if he has to. We find Be Prepared, which is great. That's exactly what we needed. So we have 8, and it's got to be Prepared. So Merlin, I guess, quests. We'll play Be Prepared. Lady Tremaine, for whatever creature or character they play next turn, will be pretty good. And let's actually, I think, ink this Maui. think now might be Mini's time now that they're very low on ammunition. This is the 5 ink queen, and now we get to style on them a little bit. Here's Lady Tremaine. Sacrifice any character that you please, as long as it's the queen. We did draw Madame Mim for turn. Yeah. Play Mini. And I think I'm actually just going to... I can Madame Mim bounce Lady Tremaine back to hand. That's pretty gas. Yeah, man. And... am I inking again? I think I am inking again. Again, just because they might rip Whole New World off the top. And I want as much recourse to that as possible. Of course, now this Lady Tremaine's face up, so... yep, there it is. Because they always find that right off the top, right? Right when you think you've got them completely hell-bent and the game is over, that's when they find it. So all of a sudden we need to find some new answers. They're at 11, gaining effectively 3 per turn. I think we just kind of go for it here. Here's Mini, Madame Mim, up to 9. We can play the goat up to 10. We have 8 left, possibly 9 if we want it. Let's play this Merlin and see what we draw. Mini. Okay, that's enough 1-drops that I think I'm fine turning that Mini into ink. We could Madame Mim, Olaf, Mini, Olaf, which honestly is actually really good. Let's just do that. Madame Mim, bounce Merlin. Up to 11. Here's Olaf. Here's Mini. Here's Olaf again. Pass. And we are threatening lethal, because we have the last point of lore in our hand. So the opponent's got to do something and got to do it fast. Grab Your Sword doesn't kill anything on its own. Minnie Mouse is evasive, so it's hard for them to deal with that. I think we're in a pretty good spot. Okay, so they shift Cinderella. Just finds another Cinderella. That's not quite good enough. Okay, so Cinderella eats Madame Mim, which is fine. We're still questing for 7. We're up to 18. It's not quite lethal, but... they're also threatening lethal of their own, right? They have... we do have another goat. So 7 up to 18. Yeah, they're just dead. Great. The goat saves me from having to do a lot of awkward math. And another grindy one in the books against Amber Steel. Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. We have found a player who is not on Amber Steel. We are up against Ruby Amber here. And I think this is the first match of like 10 that I've queued into today that was not Amber Steel. I've cut a lot of other ones from the video, not because even they were bad games, but because I don't want you guys to have to watch the same match basically every single time. So finally something different. We can put this Maleficent back. I think we can put this Ursula back. I want a 3-drop to sing Friends on the other side, but it doesn't have to be Fidget. I think Minnie Mouse is fine. Olaf I want. Maui I want. Yeah. So we'll put these 3 back. And yeah, opening hand is pretty good. Question is, am I inking Olaf or not? If I ink Olaf, then I really don't have anything to do for another couple turns. I hate this, actually. This is really awkward. I don't want to ink any of these things. I'm actually going to ink this Olaf. I just want to keep the high impact cards. Maybe it's greedy, but we are on the play, so taking a turn off early is not the worst. They ink Maleficent. Okay, so they definitely skew on the controlling side. The Queen, Olaf would not have lined up particularly well with her anyway. Yeah, I think that makes the decision to ink one of these minis pretty easy with one coming off the top. Here's Rapunzel, turning into ink. And another queen. They just love the queen over there. This time they're shifting, and they'll quest for 2, because why not? I think that Cusco is probably a little too late, and let's get Mini down and start to race. The first spell we've cast this game. Unlike Amber Steel, Amber Ruby might have a harder time dealing with this evasive creature. Or not. They have Mini of their own. So we kind of need to get this game under control. Are we questing or are we singing? I think we're singing. I think I want to get another Mini down. Although if the plan eventually is to wipe this board, then maybe not. I do know that Maui's going to come and probably kill this queen. Sure. Let's sing, see what we find. We find a Merlin goat, sure. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's turn this extra Mini into ink, and we'll play the goat. If we draw him out of Mim, then it'll be much better to have the goat in play. And we can start questing with Mini. Oh, I guess we can't, actually, because this Mini gets absolutely swole. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, honestly. Wasn't really expecting them to come out so strong. I think we're going to have Merlin sing, see what we draw first. Maleficent's not the worst. I think this is too many Mauis. It's a weird thing to say. But yeah, we'll have Maui kill the queen here. And slow their progress a bit. We're 2 turns away from Be Prepared, of course. They're questing for 4 a turn. Really, what's going to happen in this game, you can already see it take shape. We're going to get the board wiped. They're going to be at like 14 or 15 or 16 lore. And the question is, how much stuff are they going to have in their hand to rebuild? And the answer might be a lot here with Mother Gothel coming down, because if they have Rapunzel, that'll just let them draw 3. Are they thinking of trading Mini with Maui here? Oh, God. What did they get back? They got the queen back, sure. And she becomes ink? Okay, so 2 uninkable cards in hand, maybe? No, Rapunzel, sure. Weird sequencing. Probably would have drawn first. Yeah, alright. I guess Maui kills Doc. It's a trade we're going to have to be okay making because the board's going to get wiped. And Fidget, probably not what we're looking for. I guess before we make that decision, I should practice what I preach, draw the card first. Find Teeth and Ambition. 2 damage to their stuff doesn't seem super appealing, especially because they have Rapunzels. They're questing for 5, that's so much. Alright, well, Teeth and Ambitions is probably the best thing to turn into ink. We're going to quest with the goat, and yeah, this feels bad. We're so far behind, I think that we need our opponent to make a pretty big mistake here. Okay, that's great to see. We love that. That's fantastic. Them taking a turn to not quest with something is great. Alright, so they have 3 cards left to rebuild. Is there a world where we don't wipe this board? I can't see it. Yeah, we have to wipe. So I guess that means Fidget and quest and board wipe. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. So not only 4 cards in hand, but a card that replaces itself with their choice of card from the graveyard. Pretty good follow-up to our board wipe. Oh, wow. So they get Mother Gothel back. A pretty significant tell that they have another Rapunzel. You would never get that card back otherwise. So they'd only get her back if that represents another 3 cards to draw. And unfortunately, we just cannot We can't draw the Be Prepared that we would have needed to get out of that situation. And we're 1 ink short of Maleficent here. Yeah. I guess that means we can start with Maleficent, the small. Find Minnie Mouse. That gives us 5 ink this turn if we want it. So maybe that's the play. Maybe it's Merlin, Goat, Minnie. Or ink Merlin, play Goat, play Minnie. You can also keep Minnie in hand as the ink next turn for Maleficent. I think we gotta go fast here. We just gotta get stuff in play. They surely 100% have Rapunzel here. Oh, maybe they don't. I mean, that's still pretty bad for us, but I honestly don't think that's as bad as them drawing 3 cards. Like, drawing 2 cards and keeping the 3 damage on Mother Gothel, I think is pretty good for us. We can just ink the Merlin, play Maleficent, kill one of these 2. They're questing for 4 next turn. Or we can ink Merlin, we can ink the Crab Merlin, play Merlin, and Maui eat Hades. That seems like the worst, though. Okay. I think that's what I'm in for. We're going to play Maleficent. I'm going to kill Stitch and hope that they don't have Rapunzel, or if they do, that we can draw a way to outgrind them. And Maleficent's going to trade with Hades, and the rest of the team is going on a mission. The odds that one of these cards is not Rapunzel is pretty rough. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'll sack this Minnie Mouse. Are they going to trade Mother Gothel with Merlin? Great, that's outstanding. Inking Stitch. What do you have? Doc. Okay. Okay, so they're questing for 4. We're questing for 2, 3, really. We'll be at 11. And then the next turn will be 2, 3. Not enough. All right, well, we'll start with Maleficent, because I think we have to. Minnie. Yeah, screw it. I think we're just at the point where we need to go all in. No sense inking anything now. Okay. This lore counter is often pretty slow to update. So this is not actually 4. This is 5, 6, 7. So they're going to go up to 17 and threaten to quest with 7. So we'll need to deal with 5 points of lore on their turn, which we can't do. Not without help, anyway. Opponent's trying to figure that out now. Wow. Wow. Man, opponent, if they had just quested out there, had us pretty much dead to rights, I think. Oh, wow, and that leaves us with some interesting choices. We can quest for 3 here, bounce Merlin, replay Merlin. That's 1 line. That'll put us up to 14, 15, and then we'll be 1. That'll threaten lethal next turn, if we do it. But then that leaves these guys out to dry. So the alternative, I guess, is we can quest with Merlin, Madame bounce Maleficent, replay Maleficent, draw a card, try to get ahead that way, and then leave Merlin tapped, but they have to throw something away in order to kill it. Sure. I think I like that a little more. Olaf, I guess. All right. And I guess I'm questing with Minnie Mouse here because anything that they do that attacks Minnie is them not questing to get ahead, so I'm fine with that. And yeah, here's Olaf. We're threatening 5 next turn. If Merlin dies, then that'll be the 5th. That'll be the 6th, rather. They do trade Stitch with Merlin here. So now they're questing for only 4 next turn to 19. So Not a whole lot of ways they can get out of this, I don't think. Particularly now because Maui gets to eat the queen. And yeah, I think you're just dead, opponent. Up to 19. I'm going to jam this mini. Opponent says well played. We'll say the same. And yeah, they scoop him up. Yeah, I think that we were the beneficiary of some mistakes from our opponent there, because if they had just, on that turn, instead of trying to take our board out, just quested for 4 and threatened to quest for another 7, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to kill enough of their stuff to keep them from winning. So I think there was a pretty big mistake on their side, not just going for it that turn. Anyway, I'm glad that I finally got to show you a game that was not against Amber Steel. Again, sorry about my voice this episode. I am recovering from pretty long illness. And yeah, so overall, Ruby Amethyst is my favorite deck to play. I'm a control player at heart. You've seen how it has game against pretty much everything. You know, the one deck that anyone is playing on the ladder, plus some random thing I finally managed to queue into at, like, you know, midnight or 1 in the morning or whatever it is right now. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you want to play the deck yourself, then you can obviously head on over to our sponsor, Coolstuffinc.com. Make sure to use the code Academy at checkout for 5% off your order. Stock is finally there. It's finally possible to play Lorcana in paper, and I encourage you to do it because it's pretty fun. Let me know in the comments if there's a deck that you want to see played in Pixleborn in the future, or if there's a card from Season 3 that you're excited to see and excited to see me build around, and I'll try to do that. So that's it for this video. I will see you guys later. Thank you guys very much for watching. Yeah, see ya.